Thank you, Jerry. Boy, that makes you miss college. Our final writer tonight, his name is Nathan Clevenger. Nathan, like many of today's young writers, is fortunate to have a job, any job. And as many in this room can attest, writers are especially fortunate when they have those less than ideal, mind-numbing jobs that provide them with plenty of material to write about and just enough money to survive. Fortunately for us, Nathan took the stuff of his daily life, applied author Michael Forman's versatile format, and transformed an average day at work into the story he's going to share with us tonight. Nathan Clevenger, come on up.
Hi. A couple months ago, I fell on some hard times, which ended up with me living out of my car with my younger brother. We were there for about 3 months, and about 2 months into that, I got a very low-paying job at Pheasant Run. I joined the housekeeping office and became a PM houseman, which doesn't mean much except that I worked really hard for very little money. One day, a very interesting thing happened, and I knew once it was over that I would have to write about it. On the way home, the thing that kept sticking in my head was this book that I had read as a child, Fortunately. And that format had really just, stuck in my head. So I decided to write it like that. This is the story of how I saved the day, sort of. Unfortunately, I had work yesterday. Fortunately, I had a job to go to. Unfortunately, I was learning to do laundry. Fortunately, I had good teachers. Unfortunately, after a brief tutorial, I was left on my own. Fortunately, I seemed to have it well in hand. Unfortunately, there was a lot to do. Fortunately, there was an extra dryer. Unfortunately, after loading and starting it, the drum didn't turn. Fortunately, I noticed this right away and shut it down. Unfortunately, I saw an orange flickering on the wall behind the dryer. Fortunately, I only said, "Oh shit," 5 times before reacting. Unfortunately, the fire was still burning during that time. Fortunately, there was a fire extinguisher nearby. Unfortunately, I didn't pull the pin out before I tried to use it. Fortunately, it came out when I pulled right away. Unfortunately, I'd never used a fire extinguisher before. Fortunately, it was pretty simple. Unfortunately, the fire just didn't want to go out. But fortunately, I eventually used enough to put it out. Unfortunately, I had to call it in. Fortunately, I made a calm and concise report. Unfortunately, the flickering came back. Fortunately, I drowned that thing in extinguisher. Unfortunately, the other machines were still running. Fortunately, I shut them down before anything else bad happened. Unfortunately, I was choking on extinguisher powder. Fortunately, the maintenance and security people had arrived. Unfortunately, we had to evacuate the laundry. Fortunately, it wasn't my responsibility anymore. Unfortunately, the maintenance supervisor wanted to see me. Fortunately, he was really nice and understanding. Unfortunately, he told me that the fire I was putting out was really just the burner on the dryer and not an out-of-control dryer fire. Fortunately, he said I did what I thought was right and that no one was hurt. Unfortunately, I had to clean up all the extinguisher powder. Fortunately, I had a little help from the guys. Unfortunately, I had to tell my boss how I messed up. Fortunately, I didn't have to work the next day and didn't have to deal with her anger. Unfortunately, now I've got a reputation at work. Fortunately, I still have a job. And unfortunately, that's the end of the story about how I saved the day. Sort of.
Thank you, Nathan.